Greetings and welcome back to Robocraft and to the garage of the Avaculants. I know, I said I wasn't going to rename the Benevolentia, but I couldn't help it. The Avaculants is so perfect for what it is. I mean, it's a funny name to go with a funny bot, which I built just to have a laugh. And then the joke was on me because it ended up being a remarkably enjoyable bot to play with and a fantastically effective bot. Honestly, I have won vastly more games with the Avaculants than I've lost, and it does really well for the tier it's in, which is tier 6. Now, I want to get something out of the way before we begin, and that is, while it is built to exist in tier 6, and the vast majority of components are tier 6 or below, there are some which are not. I'm looking at you, T7 Nano Disruptors and T7 Shields. These are unlocked with T7 tech points, so you have to have reached T7 and have had enough tech points to unlock these components to build the craft as I'm going to build it. However, with the exception of the shields, because all shields are different shapes for the different tiers, you might be able to work the tier 6 or 5 shield into it. I don't know though, that would probably require a bit of a redesign or just foregoing the shields. But you can happily field this bot with all T6 Nano Disruptors. These three are T6. You could just get rid of these and have T6s instead. So you could field this entirely with components from T6, but you would miss out on the very, very snug fit of the shields we have there. But without further ado, let us get on with it. So we have 2 T7 shields, one for each side, 2 T7 Nano Disruptors and 3 T6 Nano Disruptors. We have 3 Tier 5 alignment rectifiers. We have 9 lights, and if you ask me, they are entirely necessary for this build. You do not want to take out an ambulance, Aavak, or otherwise if you cannot flash your lights to let people know that you are, in fact, an ambulance. You're there to save lives, not to take them. We also have a Tier 5 radar and 3 Tier 6 hoverblades. Now, unfortunately, I didn't think to check the cubes I had before I started taking apart the bot. So what we're going to have to do, a little bit backwards this time, we'll have a look at which cubes I've got prior to putting this bot together, and then we can work out at the end of the video or in the video comments if I forget how many blocks I have at that point, so we can work out how many blocks are required to make the build. So I've got 106 armored tier 6 cubes, 110 really because there are 4 already in play. We have got 103 prisms, 18 tetras and 4 inners. There will be a requirement for some tier 8 cubes. We will need, yeah, exactly 15 cubes, exactly. And we'll also need a handful, I think 12 light chassis prisms, but they're free, so it shouldn't be a problem for you. You can do without the tier 8 cubes. They are purely there for aesthetic reasons and nothing else. But let's get on with the design. Now, as usual, I have already built the platform where we will have our cockpit. Now, for this, we're going to want to build it out to a 4x3, and that will be our cockpit area. And I'm going to start by adding the prisms because that will allow me to quickly activate the prisms with the right middle mouse click. A lot of people keep asking me how I select a block without going to the inventory screen. Middle mouse click. So your middle mouse button will select whatever is under your cursor, and that will be the block you're trying to build with. So quite a useful little ability there. Now, we want to build the cage for protecting our rear hoverblade next. And for that, you just have 2 prisms next to each other, and then build it out. You have 1 regular block, then 3 prisms on this side. Oops, that was in completely the wrong place. There we go. And that gives you your initial hoverblade cage. So we'll grab one of the hoverblades from over yonder. And you just affix this. I mean, you could affix it to the front or the back. The middle is generally going to be the better one because it's attached to more things. It's going to be slightly more protective. Next, we want to create the, well, actually that back section is probably just going to be a regular block because the cockpit is going to be going there. We will also want 2 tetras as well, just to finish that off. Now, the interesting thing with this is, despite it being one of my favorite bots to play with, it is a remarkably easy bot to make. as you can see, I fit all the components across one wall. Usually when I do these build tutorials, half the garage is taken up by those blocks, but the functional components. But this is a really, really simple bot to make and a very, very satisfying bot to fly. Now, you want to build out a second layer of armor underneath, and the reason why you want to do that is to protect yourself from someone simply shooting out the area underneath your cockpit and taking you out of the game that way. So you just build this out a little bit. In fact, I'm fairly certain we'll carry that on along to the side. Now, actually we could get... no, we couldn't really. That is a shame. I was going to say we could get away with just having that face the side, but it would mess with the aesthetic. So we'll keep going with this. Now, here we are going to want some inner cubes, like so. There we are. And I believe just a regular cube there. And, as always, your heads-up holographic display so that your pilot can see immediately where there are people in need of medicing and rush off to save their lives. Now, at this point, you're one tile further along than the edge of your cockpit. Again, I'm not going to place that down yet because it'll mess with the color of pretty much everything. But at this point, I'm fairly certain this is where we would be fitting in the shields. The shields would anchor there and there if they are T7 shields. I mean, again, you could change this up if you wanted to. And honestly, I welcome you to do so. But you would need to redesign it in order to fit any type of other shield. So just continue building this out at about a 3x3 on from where the shields would be. And at that point, we're going to want to start tapering it because we're getting close to the beak of the vessel at this point. So we taper it in on either side, come one more out, and then bring that down. And that is the front of the vessel. Now you can decide for yourselves how you want to decorate the underside. Personally, I like to continue the sort of kind of beak feel that we've got going there. In fact, we might even bring that out one more. There we go. There we are. That looks nice. I think that has a very, very nice and striking aesthetic going for it. Next, we want to build out... Oops, that's exactly not what we want to do. We want to build out the limbs that are going to reach out to the side hover blades. And in fact, what we'll do there as well is we'll start to taper this off. There we go. Now, as for the shields, we should, I think, be okay to build this out that far. I'll lay off on that because these do lean down a little bit. So I'll have to see exactly how I can build up the armor underneath. But now that we have reached this point, what we want is, let's see, we want another 2 coming out, I think, and then we start to build up, yeah, we start to build up on this side, I would say. Now, what we're going to want is like this, and the front is going to be slightly different from the back because we have this kind of... it's an even number of blocks there, whereas ultimately we want it to be an odd number of blocks because this wants to be centralized. So we're going to have to change the shape just slightly. So the front has 3 prisms, but the rear, like arm of the cage, only has 2 prisms. Then we build it out like so, and pretty much do exactly what we did with the rear cage. So we just bring this out like that. And I'm going to say it, I know you've all heard me say it lots of times before, but I really wish I had a mirror line. Although I would almost certainly forget to use it 9 times out of 10, I wish I had it for that 1 time out of 10 where I would have actually remembered to use it. It is very sorely missed. But there we go. That last bit of a cage. There's a lot of fiddly little building in this one, but there we are. That's the main bulk of its mobility all sorted out. Now we just connect these tier 6s in here, and there we go. Now you want to put in these blocks again. Actually, I don't think I had one. I could be wrong though. No, I think I did. We'll see. I may have to adjust that slightly. As always, I'm doing this from memory. I don't have a notepad design or anything for this one because it's by and large, a very simple design. I don't really think I need one, but some things may be slightly different from the original. Some things might even be better. But, I doubt it in this case, because I'm not going to be adding any functional components. And about the only thing that I can think to add that would be of any use would be an additional thruster pair. Perhaps in the middle instead of the alignment rectifiers. But there you go. That's the main body there. And, again, I don't like the way that the limbs of the shields kind of get cut off otherwise. If you look in there... Oh, damn. No, we did have to get rid of that. I thought I had got rid of those for some reason. There we go. That now goes in there. The reason why I use a prism there... And I know a lot of people feel frustrated by this, because I could just put a regular block. Let me demonstrate. If I put a block in there, if I can sneak down underneath... Let me in... No, that is not what I wanted to do. I wanted to build a block. Now let me out. See, it just cuts it into it. I know it allows it, so it's fine. It's not cheating. Don't get me wrong. I don't think it's cheating. I just don't like the way it looks. So I use prisms there instead, just to improve that. I put that in slightly the wrong place. It's really bloody hard to see what I'm doing. Stupid shield. All right, let me put that back there. And then we'll affix the other shield as well. Actually, no. First, we will build this out, because I can clearly see where this can reach out to. There we go. In fact, let me get rid of this one in favor of an inner cube. There we go. That is perfect. And this is all nicely built up inside, even though no one is ever going to see it. Unless they shoot off my shields, which is a real possibility. But I would know it was there, and that would irritate me. So, there we go. For my sanity, even though it might mean that you're losing some of yours, we are building it up like that. There we are. That's nice and fit. I could, I suppose, build up the side as well, just for that extra little bit of armor. The reason I would do this, and I think I will, is purely to protect these components. Should the shield be shot off, it gives me just that tiny little bit of extra armor to weather an attack. It's not a lot, but you'd be surprised what a prism or a... Let me get you in there. An inner cube or even a tetra cube can do for your armor. Right, there we go. That is the majority of the functional components of this vehicle. Now, we're going to add the lights, because the lights are incredibly important. And you just pop those on the conveniently positioned flat surfaces on each hoverblade cage. There we are. And it gives a very nice effect then when you're spinning in place. It does look rather dapper if you ask me. There we go. Right, as for down here, let's finish off shaping this part. Now, you could build this out a little bit if you really wanted to. And I would see no reason not to. You could, for example, build out this limb to be a straight line. I'm not going to, but you could if that was your desire. We'll shape that too. There we go. Right, now, the expensive bit of this build, unfortunately. We need the tier 8 armor cubes. These are crazy expensive, and if you've only just gotten into, high enough into tier 7 in order to build this with the shield components as well, don't worry about the tier 8 armor cubes. They provide a decent amount of protection to your hoverblades, but they are entirely there for show. I didn't put these there to actually protect the hoverblades. I put them there so I'd have red crosses on my ambulance bot. And that is the only reason I have them. There we are. It just, the extra protection is icing on the cake. Right, next we want the radar. Now, I put the radar on the back. You could, if you really wanted to, have an extra nanogun. I really don't think it's necessary. So, I don't. However, I do feel that these are useful. So, we're going to place all 3 of these down. So, one there. Now, these 2 side ones are the ones that I would replace in order to affix a a pair of thrusters to the side of this. Now, a lot of people have mentioned that with a medic bot, you do want speed, and I can see where they're coming from. I'm not going to do that because that's not how the bot was originally built, and I am trying to be fairly faithful to that, but you definitely could set that up. Now, with regards to the nano disruptors, if you are flying this with 2 tier 7 or maybe even higher tier nano disruptors, if you're taking this up into a higher tier, I recommend putting the highest tier nano disruptors on the top of your vehicle, because they will generally have a better line of sight to potential injured teammates. Certainly flyers, these are the only ones that are really going to be able to hit them. So it's good to have the highest tier ones you have on the top. But then, to finish off the build, we just affix a couple of the lower tier weapons down there. So there we go. This gives us 4 nano disruptors. Actually, come to think of it, I'm fairly certain I may have miscounted, because I'm pretty certain we actually had more than that. Let me see. Could I fit a 6 in here? Yes, I can. Okay, so scrap the whole thing about there only being 6 tier 6 nano disruptors. There are not. There are 4 tier 6 nano disruptors, and that gives us a grand total of 6 nano disruptors, which is exactly how many you want. Well, I'm fairly certain, actually, thinking about it, I didn't have 4, but you can have 4. There's no reason not to, I guess. But just in case I didn't before, and because that one at the back would not be able to target anything at the front if that was there, I'll get rid of that middle one. But you could easily fit that into tier 6 still. But there we have it. Let me get rid of this. This is the Aavakulants. And we'll just add the last pilot seat. But as you can see, I'm already starting to think of ways that I could improve this bot. I mean, not only could you have the tier 6 nano disruptor down there, so you'd have, on anything you could actually hit with all 6 nano disruptors, you'd have the maximum heal rate. But if you really did want to, and I can't really see a reason why not, we won't use a tier 7 because that just won't fit. But let me see if I could fit 2 tier 6s. I might be able to. I'll buy an extra tier 5 just in case I can't fit the tier 6. But there we go. Now this is completely just bolted on in addition to what we already had. How much would that take up? I couldn't fit 2 of them anyway, so I may as well just go with one in the center on each side. There we go. This would probably work a little bit better than previously because of the extra speed. In fact, let's go and jump into a practice match and just see how those thrusters have affected the build. Let's see, how long is this going to take to load? There we go. I was a little bit worried about you for a moment there. Oh, phew. I thought I was having the grey screen bug. But, let's see. It has got a fair bit of speed. It's a lot faster than it was previously. I imagine I could increase that dramatically with higher level thrusters, but this is right on the edge of tier 6. So, probably wouldn't be able to fit tier 7s on there. I can give it a quick try, though. But this is built for tier 6, so hence the predominantly tier 6 armor. You could easily take this bot into a higher level. And look at those lights. Absolutely glorious. Alright, let's jump back to the mothership. Honestly, most of my bots sacrifice quite a lot of CPU and functionality just to look good. I'm sorry if you don't like that, but I love it. So that's the way it's going to be. But let's just have a look. Could I fit these tier 7s on there? No. Even one of them would put me into, well, 1 plus the tier 6 on the other side would put me into tier 7. But if you wanted to take this to tier 7, as I said, this bot is very comfortable with being upgraded. I imagine you could happily take it into tier 8, in fact. Just replace all of this with red armor and keep the white there, of course, to have the red and white cross. But on the whole, I am very, very pleased. I really can't overstate how much fun I have using this tiny little bot. And just as a last thing, can I fit this in there? No, I can't. Never mind. But as I was saying, I really can't say enough how satisfying this bot is to fly. And it's not that it's a successful bot. It's just genuinely a fun bot to use. Now, to check how many cubes we've used, we've got 35 armored cubes remaining. We have 22 prisms remaining. We have 4 armored tetras remaining and 0 armored inners. So I'll stick in the video description exactly how many cubes that is. And actually, before I forget, let's try this one thing. I keep being asked, how much would this cost? If I were to try and sell this robot, I would get back 187,676 RP. Now, I believe, I'm fairly certain that this is half of the value of the blocks that I got. I'll get back 50% of what I spent on it. So, I'm not going to sell this, no. But I believe that this would be double that in value. So there you go. That is it for the Aavakulants. I do hope you've enjoyed this build tutorial. I hope any of you that do try to take this out have as much fun playing with this bot as I do. But that is it for this video. I hope you've enjoyed and will join me in the next. But until then, and as always, do take care.
Plasma bomber spotted. Plasma bomber spotted.